One day a couple is wandering in the woods when they encounter a large grizzly bear. The ferocious bear first tears off the arm of a man named Timothy Treadwell. As he stares at his severed arm in agony, his girlfriend Amy Hugard freezes in place in horror, unable to do anything but scream. They both fall victim to the ruthless predator and are unfortunately eaten alive. If you think that their fate is the most painful way to die, no, it is not. Although in this case, too, death is slow. This type of death scores 100 on the pain scale. The predicted most painful form of death has a score of 140 on the scale. Watch carefully until the end to learn about this horrible death that reaches its maximum point, and don't forget to subscribe and like the channel while watching. On October 11, 2012, employees at a seafood processing plant in Santa Fe Springs were alarmed. Their 62-year-old co-worker, Jose Molina, had suddenly disappeared. After more than an hour of searching, the boiler operator suggested opening the last used oven. This oven was used to cook and sterilize tuna at high temperatures. "I hope Jose is not in there," the workers thought anxiously as they waited for the oven to cool down. Unfortunately, when the oven door was opened, the fear came true. Jose was inside. Molina had noticed a malfunction while placing pallets of canned tuna in the oven, and, without telling anyone, went in to fix the problem. Meanwhile, another employee, thinking Jose had left the oven, closed the oven door and turned up the temperature. The oven contained about 52,000 kilos of canned tuna and began to cook at 132 degrees Celsius. Jose probably first suffered severe skin burns, and then the high temperature affected his muscles and organs. The poor man was boiled alive. On the pain scale, a gunshot wound to the head, for example, scores 2 points, while a shark bite scores 91 points. Death by being boiled alive is worth up to 105 points. The year is 2009, and the place is Camden, New Jersey. A 29-year-old citizen named Vincent Smith thought he was going to have an ordinary day at work that day, but unfortunately, it wasn't. Vincent was working in an illegal chocolate factory called Cocoa Services. On that day, while filling a 2.5-meter deep vat with chocolate chips, he was suddenly struck by a stirring pallet and fell into the hot molten chocolate. Vincent was trapped in the 120-degree boiler for 10 minutes before his colleagues rescued him, and sadly died from both burns and the damage caused to his body by the stirrer. If there had been a protective barrier around the boiler, this would not have happened that day. In production facilities and factories, such incidents can happen to workers from time to time, even unintentionally, due to imprudent behavior. But what I am about to describe is a completely different and deliberate way of dying. On June 11, 1963, Buddhists were deeply disturbed by the South Vietnamese government's disrespect for their faith, so some 350 monks and nuns gathered for a peaceful protest. At that moment, a car stopped near the presidential palace, and 3 monks, including Quang Duc, got out. The gathered reporters and others were about to witness something very strange. Monk Quang sat on a cushion in the lotus posture, the traditional Buddhist meditation position, and another monk began pouring gasoline over his head. Quang prayed without paying any attention, and when he finished praying, he struck a match. Flames instantly engulfed him and black smoke billowed up. It was a horrible sight, Quang Duc's body slowly shriveling and drying up, his head turning black and charred. Everyone wept loudly, but the monk, despite the excruciating pain, did not move a muscle or make a sound. It still boggles the mind how that priest could remain calm in the face of pain that an ordinary person could not remain calm. The pain of being burned alive is rated 108 points on the scale. In 2007, 33-year-old Hong Kong adventurer Cecilia Chung set off for the Nango volcano in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This volcano had caused a catastrophe in 2002, covering the city of Goma in lava. But over the years, the volcano's activity has calmed down, and this dangerous beauty has attracted tourists from all over the world. Cecilia was one of those tourists who wanted to see the volcano up close. When she and her group reached Nango's crater, Cecilia was hypnotized by the desert-like cracks in the earth and the streaks of lava glowing like hellfire. As she took a few steps forward to take a closer photo of the spectacle, she suddenly lost her balance and was thrown downwards. As she fell for about 200 meters, she hit a ledge just above the lava lake and fell into a section where the lava emitted temperatures close to 1000 degrees C. Rescuers and a volcanologist were quickly dispatched to the scene, but bad weather made rescue impossible. Although they tried to save her, Cecilia met her bitter end. Eyewitnesses hoped that Cecilia was killed instantly by the force of the impact, and therefore did not feel the brutal heat of the lava. This tragic event was so horrifying that it would have been worth 110 points on the pain scale. In 2016, Colin Scott and his sister Sable organized a trip to Yellowstone National Park. While the park's geothermal areas were fascinating, they were also fraught with danger. Although not as hot as lava, the water can reach temperatures of up to 96 degrees Celsius, which can cause severe burns and death. But Colin and Sable stepped into the forbidden zone, despite all the warnings. Colin fell into the hot water near the pork chop geyser. This kind of death was more painful than a volcanic death, because death in a hot spring is slow. Because of the sulfate acids found in the park's water sources, only parts of Colin's body were visible when Sable and park staff returned. By the next morning, Colin's body was completely dissolved. Melting in a geyser still doesn't come close to 140 points on the pain scale. On September 13, 1987, in Goiânia, Brazil, junkyard owner Dever Ferreira invited several people he knew to his home to show them an exciting discovery. What he found was a glowing blue powder, but no one knew what it was. Dever had extracted it from a metal capsule taken from an abandoned hospital. In fact, the capsule belonged to a radiotherapy machine, and the powder inside was the deadly radionuclide 137. Left unchecked, the radiation contained in this powder could destroy even healthy cells. Dever unwittingly set off a deadly chain reaction. About 250 people came into contact with the dust. Dever's wife, Maria Gabriela Ferreira, suffered from hair loss and internal bleeding. Some suffered respiratory problems and others heart problems, but the hardest hit was Dever's 6-year-old niece, Leida das Neves Ferreira. The girl was placed in an isolated hospital room, but hospital staff were afraid to approach her. Leida suffered swelling on her upper body, hair loss, kidney and lung damage, and internal bleeding, all of which adds up to 125 points on the pain scale. That's worse than burning to death. Are you curious about the 140-point pain, the highest score on the pain scale, which no one, not even an enemy, would want to experience? The source of this terrible pain is the skinny torture, known as one of the most painful methods. In this form of torture, the skin is first softened by sunburn or hot water, and then the torturer makes cuts, starting from the least sensitive parts of the body and moving towards the sensitive skin of the face. The process is designed to maximize pain by keeping the victim alive for as long as possible. Eventually, death can occur due to blood loss, shock, or infections. This form of punishment has existed from the ancient Assyrians to medieval Europe. Today, it is no longer practiced and is strictly prohibited by law. Well, curious viewers, that's all for today. I wish everyone a healthy and careful life, and if there are any other topics that interest you, please share them in the comments. See you in the next video.